Hey everybody, it's Miss Susanna. Welcome back. For today's mind-body video, we'll be talking about gesture as a form of communication. So before we define what is gesture, I'm going to do a few gestures because you already have an intuitive sense about what many gestures mean. So I'm going to do a few gestures and I want you to tell me, what do they mean? Okay, so you can do that by putting it in the chat if you are currently in a classroom with a chat function, or you can just say it out loud to the camera. Ready? Okay, so I'll bet you already had a natural sense for what those mean, right? Those are all gestures that we use in our culture to mean things like great, good job, okay, go away, right? Come here, brr, shake my fist. I don't know how to translate that into words, but you know what I mean, right? No, no way, bad, scolding. Yeah, so I'll bet you knew what those gestures mean. So what is a gesture? Now that you've experienced a few gesture, take a stab at a definition. What is a gesture? Well, a gesture is a movement or position of the hand, arm, head, or face that expresses an idea or an emotion, right? So we could think of gestures as using different parts of the body, but normally we think of gestures as being part of the hands, the arms, and also the head and the face. I was noticing that as I did my different hand gestures, I also included different facial expressions that matched the hand gesture. So often the head and the face and the arms and the hands go together. Now, in different cultures, sometimes gestures are different than in our culture. For example, pointing is not necessarily rude in our culture. You might point at something or someone, right? Over there, over there. But in some cultures, pointing is considered rude and you don't want to point at somebody. We might say, come here, like this, right? But in some places, in some cultures, people say, come here like this, with the hand pointing down, and it would be considered rude to do it with the hand pointing up. Interesting fact. When we are talking about ourselves in our culture, we might point at ourselves or indicate like this, right? We might put one hand or two hands. And in some cultures, that would not be the place to indicate ourselves. For example, I read that in China, you would touch your nose to indicate yourself instead of maybe putting a hand to your chest or torso. Interesting facts. So in different cultures, gestures may be different. So they're not universal. They don't always mean the same thing. But generally, if we're part of the same general culture, we will know what the different gestures mean. So now let's take a look at some uses of gesture in dance. I remember when we watched Appalachian Spring a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about narrative, gesture was one of the tools that choreographers use to express a story, right? To express a narrative. Because gesture is so universally recognized by people, it can help tell stories. It can help express a narrative. So let's look at a couple of uses of gesture to tell a story in a couple of different cultural dances. The two we're going to look at today are Bharatanatyam, a style of classical dance from India, and ballet, a style of classical dance originally from France. So let's look at this introduction to what is Bharatanatyam. It is a living and breathing dance theater tradition. Bharatanatyam explores both timeless human concerns and timely complexities of life. The dancer communicates through movements of the limbs, a language of gestures, rhythms executed by footwork, and abhinaya, which is the art of expressing emotions through facial and body language. Hands open out becomes a flower. Oh, I know that one. This is a flower. Birds fly from the dancer's hand gestures. Each muscle of the dancer's face transforms into an expressive instrument. As the dancer expresses complex moods and emotions, she or he aspires to create a spiritual message. Okay, so that was a description of Bharatanatyam. Now let's see how a story can be told using these hand gestures. And oh my gosh, you guys, there are like hundreds and hundreds of these hand gestures in Bharatanatyam. They're called mudras, and there's many, many, many of them. And dancers who study Bharatanatyam have to study all these complex mudras or hand gestures. So let's take a look at a story told with mudras.
For centuries, Bharatanatyam has been used to express stories from
Indian epics and Hindu mythology. It does so through hand gestures, spectacular footwork, and facial expressions. There are single or double hand gestures called mudras, and they can be used to tell any story in any language, such as the fable of the lion and the mouse. There once was a proud lion who thought he was the most superior being of all. One day, he got caught in a hunter's net. He tried as hard as he could to get out, but eventually gave up. As night fell, a tiny mouse peered out from a hollow of a tree. The lion asked him for help. Hesitant at first, the little mouse decided to free him. He cut the net with his teeth, letting the lion loose. The lion thanked the mouse for his kindness, for he understood that even the strongest may need help.
Cool. So I thought for fun, we could learn a couple of mudras or hand gestures that are part of Bharatanatyam, this classical style from India. It's a very different way of dancing, which is very specific. Each hand gesture is very specific. So I thought we could learn just a few right now. Okay, let's try a few.
Meaning is also mentioned. Pataka. Here, the thumb is bent to touch the fingers and the fingers are extended. This is pataka and the meaning is a flag. Tripataka. When the ring finger is bent in a pataka hand, it becomes tripataka. And this denotes a flag with three colors.
Very specific. A flag with three
colors. When the ring finger and the little finger are bent, it then becomes Ardhapataka, which denotes half of a flag.
Half of a flag.
Kartari Mukha. The index finger and the middle finger are outspread. This looks like a scissor, doesn't it? Mayurakyo. When we join the ring finger to the thumb and the other fingers are extended, then it is Mayurahasta, depicting a peacock.
A peacock.
Arthachandra. The thumb of the Pataka hand is stretched out. It becomes Arthachandra. The meaning is half moon. Arala. When the index finger is curved to touch the thumb, it becomes Arala, and it means bent. Shukatunda. In this hasta, we find the index finger and the ring finger curved to denote a parrot's head.
A parrot's head.
Mushti. When all the four fingers are bent upon the palm and the thumb is set on them, then it becomes mushti, and it means a fist.
A fist. That one's universal.
Shikhara. If the mushti hand has...
Okay, there are hundreds and hundreds of these, so we could be here all day. So we don't have time to learn all of them, but I just wanted to give you a little taste of all the specific Bharatanatyam mudras. They're so beautiful, and you could study it a lot more in depth. I've studied it a little bit, but not enough to teach you. So I am a student also of that style of dance. So now let's compare and contrast Bharatanatyam with a style you may have seen a little bit more of before, ballet, right? Story ballet. So a narrative ballet or a story ballet is a form of ballet that has a plot and characters, like what we've been talking about the last couple weeks. It's typically a production with full sets and costumes. And most ballets of the 19th century were narrative ballets, meaning they weren't just dancing around for fun. There was a specific story that they were telling with characters and a narrative. Okay, so among the most well-known were Swan Lake, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella. You might know some of those names because, of course, they've been turned into Disney movies. But before the Disney movies, they were stories that were written down, and they were ballets. So those came long before the Disney movies that you might know now. So these ballets use a series of codified gestures. Codified means a code, right? What's a code? It's like something used to communicate, but only some people know what it is, right? But codified gestures means I know what they mean, you know what they mean, and when I use them to communicate, you know what I mean, and I know what you mean. Woo! You know what I mean? So this video shows a character called Odette from Swan Lake, and she is doing a mime, meaning she's using her arms. She's using a big form of gesture to tell a story, okay? So first we're going to watch it with no explanation, no words. So just watch it and try to see if you can figure out what she's saying, and then someone will explain it and tell us what she is saying. So let's watch.
she says, because I am the queen of all the swans. To you, the queen, I bow. Thank you, she says. I to you will show, over there is a lake of my mother's tears. But wait, over there is one wicked magician that has made me into a swan. But wait, if one, me, loves and will marry and promises to be faithful, I will be a swan no more.
Cool, huh? So those are obviously really different, the Bharatanatyam and the ballet, but they're both using gesture to communicate and tell a story. So be thinking about what are some of the similarities and differences between the two clips that you just saw. All right, friends, cool. So now it is our turn to try a little bit and to make up some of our own communicative gestures into a dance. So first, we're going to write down a couple things for some inspiration, okay? So grab something to write with, grab a piece of paper, and first, I want you to write down 3 things you use or see every day. 3 physical things that you use or see every day. Go ahead. I'm doing it with you. Oh, I think we maybe need a little music while we do it. Okay. Write down 3 people you interact with every day. Could be live people, could be virtual people, could be yourself. Write down 3 people you interact with every day. Three characters in your life. Okay, now make a list of 3 verbs, 3 actions you do every day. At least 3. If 3 is too easy, put down some more. Now make a list of 3 places that you go every day or would like to go. I know a lot of us right now aren't really going anywhere except home. So maybe your 3 places are all inside your house in their different rooms. Or maybe it's where you go on your walk. Or I don't know, somewhere you want to go. Anything you like. Alrighty, friends. Great. Now, for each of these words, we're going to make a gesture. So I'm going to share some of mine with you first. So let's try mine first. For the 3 things I use every day, I put T, computer, headphones. So I'm going to go T, try mine, T, computer, headphones. Nice. Now make up your 3. Go. Okay, and now the 3 people you interact with or see every day. I put myself, I put my hubby, and I put my dancers. This is actually sign language for dancers. So try it. Myself, my hubby, my dancers. Okay, make up your gesture for your 3 people or characters. Okay, now our 3 verbs, our 3 actions. Or maybe you did more than 3. I put 4. I put dance. This is my gesture for dance. Go ahead, try it. Cheesy, I know. But it communicates what I want, right? Okay, I put type. Try mine. Good. I put concentrate. And I put listen. Great. Dance. Type. Concentrate. Listen. Great. Now make up your gestures to go with your words. Okay, finally we have our setting, our location. Where are we going every day? I put inside, outside, and the beach. That's where I want to go. So I'm going to go in for inside. I'm going to go out for outside. And I'm going to go like this to represent chillaxing at the beach. So try mine. Inside, outside, the beach. All right, make your gestures for your 3 places. Okay, great job, dancers. I'll bet they were super amazing. Now, let's take this to the next level. All right. Now, you are going to take these words, the words, and turn them into a super short story about your daily life. So basically take the words and put them into full sentences. Okay? It can be silly, it can be serious. I'll share mine with you. Mine is, I drink tea while I type on the computer. I concentrate, I listen, I dance. I am inside, I am outside, I am at the beach. Okay, so it doesn't have to be super complicated. Just take the words that you wrote and string them together into a couple of full sentences that make a short story that makes sense. Go ahead. Okay, dancers, it's the final part of our task, and I'll bet that you can guess what it is. So now we're going to take our story and turn it into a gesture dance, right? You're just taking the gestures that you came up with and stringing them together into your story, okay? So let me teach you mine, okay? Try mine. So, I drink tea while I type at the computer. I concentrate, I listen, I dance. I'm inside, I'm outside, I go to the beach. Yeah? All right, let's try mine again. So I'm just taking the gestures I made up for my words and stringing them together to go along with my story. Here we go. I drink tea while I type on the computer. I concentrate, I listen, I dance. I'm inside, I'm outside, I am at the beach. Okay, let's try it with no words. Let's see what happens. Nice, great job. I'll bet you would have understood some of that even without the words, right? Okay, so now it's your turn. Take 2 minutes to practice doing yours. Okie dokie. Practice your whole thing, string it together. Go for it. And dancers, if you've been practicing it while saying the words at the same time to remember it, totally cool. Now see if you can practice it as just a dance. Maybe you're just saying the words in your head, but you're not saying them out loud. Go for it. Cool, 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 cool. I totally wish I could see these. I'll bet they're super awesome. If you have time in class, I would love for you to share a few of these with your fellow dancers. You don't even have to have any sound, right? You can just perform it. And then have everybody give each person a little love. Yeah? I don't think there's any need to guess the story, but it would be super interesting as you watch each person to think, what are they communicating? Yeah? So take some time now, share what you created with each other, share your beautiful creativity. And I totally wish that I could see them. I'll bet they're beautiful. Mwah. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful week. I hope you enjoyed creating a gesture dance today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.